In this video, I'll guide you through how to set up reporting identity in Google Analytics 4. We'll move step by step, so even if you're not an advanced analytics user, you'll be able to follow along and understand what you're changing and why it matters. First, open your browser and go to analytics.google.com. Make sure you're signed into the Google account that has access to the analytics property you want to work with. If you have multiple accounts or properties, double check that the correct GA4 property is selected in the top left corner of the interface. This ensures that any changes you make apply to the right website or app. Once you're in the correct property, look to the lower left-hand corner of the screen for the admin section. This is represented by a small gear icon. Click that gear icon to open the admin panel. The admin area is where you control your property level and account level settings, so it's the place you go whenever you need to configure how your data is collected, processed, or displayed. Inside the admin panel, you'll see a few columns of options. Focus on the column for your GA4 property. Scroll down within this column until you find a section called Data Display. This section controls how Google Analytics shows data in your reports, and it includes options that affect how users are identified and stitched together across sessions and devices. Under the Data Display section, look for an option called Reporting Identity and click it. This is where you tell Google Analytics how to identify users in your reports. Reporting Identity doesn't change the raw data being collected, but it does change how Analytics connects different hits and sessions to the same user when you look at your reports. On the Reporting Identity screen, you'll see options such as Blended and Observed. The exact wording in the interface can evolve over time, but the key idea remains the same. Blended typically uses a combination of user identifiers where available, such as user ID, Google signals, and device ID, to provide the most complete view of user behavior. It tries to stitch together sessions from the same person across devices when possible. Observed, on the other hand, usually relies only on directly observed identifiers without filling in gaps with modeled or additional signals. This can give you a more conservative but sometimes less complete picture of unique users. Choose the option that best fits your reporting needs and your organization's privacy preferences. If you want a richer view of how users behave across devices and sessions, Blended is often the recommended choice, provided it aligns with your privacy and consent practices. If you prefer a simpler approach based strictly on what's directly observed, you might choose Observed instead. Take a moment to consider how your team uses user metrics like active users, new users, and cross-device journeys, because changing this setting can affect how those numbers appear in your reports. Once you've made your selection, look for the Save button on the page and click it. This step applies the reporting identity setting to your property going forward. It doesn't rewrite historical data, but it does change how existing and future data is interpreted in your reports. After clicking Save, you'll usually see a confirmation prompt. This is Google Analytics verifying that you understand the impact of changing the reporting identity, since it can influence how user counts and attribution appear. Review the message if one appears, and when you're ready, click Confirm. This final step locks in your choice, and that's it. You've successfully set up the reporting identity in Google Analytics 4. From now on, your reports will reflect the identity method you selected, giving you a clearer and more consistent view of how people interact with your site or app.